Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Lewis. I'm an architect. I have been practicing continuously for about 38 years in Trinidad and Tobago, hence the gray top. Well, it's really a privilege for me to be speaking here this afternoon to such a prestigious group of procurement and a few construction professionals from all over the Caribbean and wider afield. I would really like to, oh yeah, you have to use this, right? Click, no. Woodrow, what do you do?
Left click to move forward, Brian.
Left click to move forward.
Right click.
Left click to move forward. Right. Well, at this age, you can't expect me to get all these details. But really, seriously, I would like to begin the talk by recalling, in a sense, why we're here in the construction industry, that is, because it represents one of the largest industries and one that has the greatest impact on the environment, on human health and happiness. It provides employment and support for countless families. In this respect, I propose it ought to be thought of in terms of its contribution to human development. Now, this splendid hotel that we are enjoying the last few days in fact, was built by the design-build procurement method. And even though many of us were not involved in this project, I think we must acknowledge that this is a case where design-build has delivered a fairly good product. The carpet is another matter, but anyway. But seriously though, I'd like to humbly submit that we must consider its success in terms of its contribution to national and human development. Click. Right, there you are. Well, my objective in the very short time I'm here this afternoon is to really open a dialogue on the subject. I'll begin with an outline of design build and the traditional methods of project delivery, followed by a review of the drivers for change to design build, and then a brief overview of some international trends. I'll do a very sort of executive SWOT analysis of design build, really to raise some of the key issues. And I will conclude with a few recommendations, and perhaps there'll be some time for discussion, but things haven't seemed to work out so well during the last couple of days due to the amount of presentations. But let's begin with a brief description of the traditional design bid build method. Right. The traditional design bid build method is well established and has been in existence in the Caribbean for most of the 20th century. Typical traditional design bid build is identified in the following characteristics. There are three prime players: the owner, the designer, and the builder. But there are only two contracts, one with the owner and designer, and one with the owner and the builder. The builder is usually selected by a competitive tendering or bidding process. The dollar sign is the contract or the tender. Design bid build relies on a segregated approach to project delivery, where a group of specialist professionals design and then tender the project competitively, and a contract is then awarded to a general contractor. Over the years, this procurement method has been developed at a pretty high level. Design professionals have a fiduciary relationship with the client and strive to achieve high professional standards, whereas the contractor acts as a vendor whose objective is to build efficiently and thus maximize profits. So these two groups then have quite different objectives. Sometimes they're opposing quite often, and sometimes they result in conflict. Now, clients don't like conflict on their projects. They are just looking for the project to be built promptly, built properly, and everybody come out of it happy. Trouble is, most clients these days seem to be in a tremendous hurry, and therefore looking for ways and means to shorten the project delivery process. In the design, bid, build approach, or the traditional approach, which we're still talking about, each stage is usually completed before the next stage can begin. So you see the green squares are the consultants, and then each stage has to be completed before the next one can start. So that it takes a little longer, and as a result has led to many variations of the process, including design build. Design build is characterized quite simply by one contract between the owner and the design build entity. I say entity because it is not always a contractor. It can be a design professional or project manager or developer. Design build is a single legal entity that is responsible for the entire building process, both design and construction. The design build entity has a vendor relationship with the client, in which the design professionals are now employed within or by the design builder and have no fiduciary relationship with the client. That's an important change, okay? Now let's look at why design build is gaining in popularity as a procurement method, both here and wider abroad. We all know the government of Trinidad and Tobago is now promoting design build as the preferred method of project delivery. We can also expect this policy to be followed by most of the government agencies in Trinidad and quite likely to be emulated throughout the Caribbean. Mind you, it is important to appreciate that this decision to use design build as a procurement method has not been debated, nor has there been any consultation with the key stakeholders within the construction industry. The forces of change away from the traditional method within the international community are mainly based on four factors: the need for accelerating the delivery of projects, the increased complexity of projects today, the need for greater certainty in terms of delivery and cost, and the need for changes that result in less conflict, greater responsibility, and less red tape. Now, although the design build can meet these objectives, it is important to appreciate that there are some disadvantages in this method, and the jury is by no means out. So here you will see two opposing views at one conference that I attended in London late last year, put on by the American Institute of Architects and the Royal Institute of British Architects, where you have on the left prominent